Hello guys, we are in International City and today we want to have a tour in International City. Let's see the beauty part of International City and how it look like in Dubai. So follow me fans and I will show you the beauty part of International City. We are going to see that we have different forms of buildings that shows how the various countries structures is being built in International City, Dubai. Let's check it out. We are here in International City, Dubai International City, and I'm here to show you various clusters or various countries which has been named for the various clusters that we have in International City, and that is what I want to show you. So if you are from UK, we have England cluster. If you are from Morocco, we have Morocco cluster. If you are from China, we have China cluster. We have Spain cluster, France cluster, a whole lot of clusters in International City. This is a city that I'm talking about inside Dubai International City. Let's walk in and check out the first cluster that we are heading towards to. That is the France, England and Russia cluster. For the meantime, we are heading towards to Russia cluster, which is closer to the England cluster. And every cluster has its own design. I mean, the designs are different depending on the cluster and its own design. England cluster has its own design, Russia cluster has its own design, and a whole lot. This is the first cluster that we will be talking about, is Russia cluster, and that is how Russia cluster look like. Let's have a 360 view of Russia cluster. When you check out Russia cluster, it look exactly like the way it's been built in Russia. You could see that they don't have a lot of balcony. There is no enough balconies for Russia cluster, because they consider the weather in Russia to build the house in order to depict how Russia stands for. And it's a nice place and a nice view in International City, Russia cluster. Very nice one there. You can see that we have a lot of parking space for every cluster, because this is a residential building, so that you can have a lot of places to park your cars if you are in the cluster. And that is a nice thing to do, nice provision for the clusters. So fans, this is England cluster. You could see that we have X20, and you could say that we have a court here that a lot of people are here enjoying themselves, be it African people, I mean British people, people from UAE here, Dubai, and a whole lot. I mean, everybody can come here and enjoy themselves. I mean, each and everyone can be here and enjoy him or herself depending on what you want. I mean, it's a small place though, but you can come here and I mean have some kind of fun and exercise. I mean, this place is for only England cluster. Every cluster has its own court that you can enjoy yourself or have fun, and that is what I want to show you. Let's go a little bit closer again. This is cluster X19 for England cluster. X19. There's a whole lot of shops. I mean, barbering shop, boutique, phone shop. I mean, all over the clusters. There is no need to go to another cluster to buy something for yourself. You can get everything when you are in your cluster. We are heading towards Italy cluster in International City, a beautiful international city. We are heading towards Italy cluster, and that is the view of Italy cluster. That is Italy cluster for you fans. It's also a nice cluster. You could see that it looked very different from England cluster. It looked different from, Russia cluster, and a whole lot. Every cluster is different depending on the name of the cluster. Be it England cluster, Russia cluster, Spain cluster, and a whole lot. And we are in Italy cluster. Different design altogether. This is Italy cluster for you. See the design and compare it with Russia cluster and Spain, France. I'll be showing you guys all these clusters because already shown you the Russia cluster and the England cluster. We are in Italy cluster and it is totally different. We'll be moving to Spain cluster as well, and I'll show you how it looks like. Hello guys, this is Spain cluster. Check out the view and the color of the paint. Check out and see how it look like, and the structure, the design, the architectural design of this building, Spain cluster, is also totally different from the one I've shown you earlier on for the various clusters. This is Spain cluster, very beautiful one. I hope you love to stay here. This is international city that I'm talking about. This is a lovely place to be. If you really want to get a comfortable place for yourself, a place that you can meet different form of nationalities, is international city, because that's the only place you will see that we have different countries and their clusters. And when I'm from UK, I love to stay in England cluster. When I'm from Spain, I love to stay in Spain cluster. From Italy, you will love to stay in Italy cluster. So this is the city in Dubai that you love to be, because you meet a lot of people from different countries. We are still in Spain cluster. As I told you earlier on, every cluster has a lot of shops. For every building, it has its own shop. For everything that you need, it's been provided, and you can get it here. When you are in Spain, you can get everything in your cluster. There is no need to move out from your building, and that is what I want to show you. It's everywhere in the various clusters. That's a beautiful international Dubai Spain cluster. This is a nice view, and this is France cluster. France cluster. It's a nice view, and I'm showing you the 180 degrees view. It's a very nice place to be in France cluster. Very beautiful one. It also has a different form of design. As I told you earlier on, they are not the same, but you can only identify your building by its number or its letter. That's a nice one there. Let's move again, more closer. I have to use the zebra crossing in order not to get fined. It's a very beautiful place to be. France cluster. Everything is here, man. There is no headache. No need to take a car and drive for so many miles before you go and buy something for yourself or shave your hair. Everything is provided under the building. I mean, on the ground floor, everything is provided. We have all forms of shops that you can buy everything you need for yourself. But when you need it in bulk, that is when you have to travel for some distance before you can get it in bulk for business purposes. If not, you can get everything you need on the ground floor. When you take the lift or the staircase and you come down, you can have everything for yourself. I love the view of France cluster. Check it out and check the color, the paints. You will love it. And that is what I'm talking about.